Hello, fellow Factorians, and welcome back to my Pyanodons challenge run. During the last episode, I spent the first half of it building out Rolesia plantations, and the last half of it panicking over an onset of steam and power problems. I quickly set up a couple of extra geothermal plants, and then went into hands-off mode, praying that I'd done enough to solve those power issues. And it turns out that I did, just barely. Watching my Steam buffers during the hands-off period was a little bit nerve-wracking, and I dropped down to like 40% of the total, so not really that much margin left. Eventually, I decided just to take a drive and drove around to explore the map and find some places that I might want to expand eventually for trains. Places with limited cliffs would be ideal. I also did a little bit of fishing for nostalgia, just from from my car. I guess you can tell from my accent and that statement that I'm an American, unfortunately. Yeah, so I found some good places. I noted some problems. For instance, I'm going to need more hot air, both in the bootstrap base and in the base in general, especially when I want to hit 240 per minute logistic science. I also noted that I needed to add more molten glass, more power, of course. So my list grew rather than shrank, but I think that's typical for Factorio. Anyway, yeah, I think I'm ready to dive into the episode, work on both the Rolesia and a few fixes for my power problems, but my biggest fix is just going to be not to turn anything new on until I get to power plants, and that's the real solution. Biomass power plants are the eventual long-term fix. But, like a few short-term fixes, especially ones that I think I can leverage for the future, are A-OK in my book. So, that was a little long-winded. Let's just jump into the episode and see how this one turns out. So, just like last time, I'm going to be building up a bunch of Rolesia plantations, and then doing some tasks. I'm short on resources, which I'm sure I will be, because, I probably don't have enough soil, for instance. I hopefully have enough glass, because I have been storing it away. But yeah, I have a few other things to get into, and hopefully I'll get a jump on some other builds. I want to run this episode a little bit longer too, because I want to get into cotton guts for the next episode. So let's go into hands-on mode and start building. Alright, I'm actually out of treated wood. That was the limiting factor, although I did have to go pick up some soil. So, time to do some side tasks while I generate more. Oops. So I realized that I have no iron ore, no creosote. Sorry, not creosote. Creosote's on my brain for some reason. No iron oxide, no copper ore coming in, so I don't need these smelters there for them anymore. Because I just divert them all and I don't make soot inside the small base. One small task that I want to do while I'm here is I want to set up a better, cheaper production of belts by using a rubber recipe. The rubber recipe is nice because it means that you use less than half as many plates for the same number of transport belts, which also makes the undergrounds cheaper, and I use a lot of undergrounds out there, as you've probably spotted when you've looked at any of my builds. I like weaving the belts under and around the pipes because, I save a little space that way. It would make my builds nice and compact, and that's my own version of OCD for doing construction projects. So let me put together this little build while I've been talking at you. And all this does is it's going to take the rubber that I've been accumulating over here and turn it into belts for me. And this is going to be a cheaper way to build it because the recipe that here is, let's see, 15 belts for 5 plates and 3 small parts, and then the belts. Whereas the normal recipe is 2 transport belts for 1 iron plate and 1 small part. So you get 7.5 times more transport belts for 3 times as many small parts and 5 times as many iron plates. A big savings. This needs to be corrected. That also needs to be corrected since I'm feeding these treated wood. For some reason they were masked to only use regular wood. So yeah, now this should get going. Cool. I think I will also set up a caravan. Oh, no, I don't have any. A caravan to bring more rubber to that drop-off point and buffer up a little bit more. I'm going to do that partially because I want the rubber and I'm not using a ton of it right now, and partially because using up more rubber is actually going to generate more steam for me, and steam has been a little bit of a problem, as you may have noticed last episode. So let me get a caravan going, and then I'll find some other tasks to do. So I got my plantations done. Turned out I was pretty close. And yeah, I'll show you why they're so expensive, by the way. 20 lamps, so a lot of glass. A steam engine, cheap. 300 soil, so yeah, I'll use up my buffers. 50 treated wood, that's fine. 5 intermetallics and 25 circuit boards, that's pretty expensive. And then some small parts, duralumin, and another 100 glass. Very expensive. So let's get out of here and put these expensive suckers to bed. Why can I not? Don't know what I was doing there. Had a little bit of a brain spasm while I was figuring out how do I get out of a train? I haven't done this in so long. Yeah. Very silly of me. So I'm going to get all these Rolesia plantations done and then go off to do more work. Actually, I should not call it work or chores. It's silly to do so. It feels like it because I've got a task list, but this is actually pretty fun for me. I love Factorio. Sometimes it does tax my brain, but that's kind of the point. And also this challenge mode is appropriately stressful. Like, I really want to maximize all of my build time as much as possible, so when I do silly stuff like fail to remember the key to get out of train, I'm like, what is wrong with me? Alright, now that is done. Fantastic. So the next thing I want to work on is power, of course. I had some serious power problems last time, and I'm going to address it in 2 ways. First way is I'm going to set up this build. This build converts anthracene oil, which I'm using some of it to make in the process of making rubber, but I'm not using all of it, so this will use up the leftovers. And it turns it into gasoline, which even at the trade-off listed here, it's more fuel value. And also some coke, which is, just bonus fuel. And the reason I don't mind doing it, besides the fact that it's going to address my power problems, is I'll have a use for that coke eventually. So it'll be good to have that coke out there, although I'm just, for right now, going to stick it into boilers. So let me get done with that. Also, while I'm doing this build, I'm going to want to tear down some of these processing units that were using the anthracene to make creosote. I'll have another way to make creosote shortly. And, well, no. I will have more creosote from carbolic, which will be a useful way to get a little bit more creosote. And the anthracene, as I said, is going to be more useful elsewhere. Alright, that is done. The coke's going to get burned, and that's actually another useful ash producer for me that I did not have before. So less raw coal being used up to make ash. Wonderful. Now, with all of these deleted tar processing centers, I'm going to do the other thing that I was going to do to make more power, and that is to install a few more tar processing units to consume the tar that I make. I'm making more tar because I'm making more syngas, and also now I can avoid more or process more middle oil because of these chitin processors. They consume middle oil. So whereas before I didn't really feel like I had enough. Oops, I do not have enough pipes. Like the setup here was perfectly ratioed, so these 16 tar processors would feed their middle oil over to these 4, and that was like exactly what I needed to do. But now I've got a little bit of extra consumption, so I might as well make more tar processing units, and I've got a tiny bit of space to fit it in. Things are getting cramped in certain areas, so that's another reason why I try and build as efficiently as possible. Space-wise, even though in a lot of times, it just makes it a little bit uglier, and it's not really necessary. Of course, I could have, just built bigger, but sometimes building bigger means you just have to run further, so yeah, that's my excuse. Alright, now that will also make me more fuel gas. Fantastic. And I don't think I will overwhelm the amount of middle oil I can process when these chitin tar processing units are running. Although they may not be running full tilt because I'm probably full on latex. Alright, off to do the next task. Let's see, what can I get done? Let me go grab some more materials and then I'll be running around. Here's a quick thing that I want to do. I want to set up a little bit more hot air production inside of the bootstrap base. I noticed that I was running low when I was running that the glass production at full tilt, and I can pretty easily just add a tiny bit more here by doing a few quick changes. Little mistake while I was setting up the coal gas, but now this should be working fine. Alright, now I'm going to go fix something up at copper 3, and on the way I have one pipe that I need to add right here. Missed that one. So the two things that I want to do here is add just a few more gasifiers to make syngas. I can process a little bit more coal gas than I currently do, at least when I'm not running aluminum mining. When I am, I do not have enough of coal gas, but I'm not running aluminum mining all the time, so that is not a problem. So yeah, that was a quick setup. And then the other quick thing is I broke this stack of copper miners because I had an inserter here that was inserting raw coal, and then I stopped feeding this whole thing raw coal. So that fixes that. Off to do the next thing. Oh yeah, one other thing that I wanted to do before I get to work on other places is, let me find it. There it is. I wanted to cut off these miners, basically. I'd rather have the carbolic be turned into creosote over here rather than another line of stone coming up here, because it turns out I have plenty of stone that gets made, and I might run low on treated wood, so yeah, just diverting resources around. The actual thing that I want to come over here and do is fix copper mining, because I have some copper miners that are fully depleted, and yeah, look at this. I need to fix this mess. So be back after I've cleaned this up. I also need to address the depletion in these iron miners, so yeah, let me fix that up real quick. Let's knock some things out of my task list while I'm running. I did the cheap belts, I did more hot air inside of the bootstrap base, I fixed that coal miner, fixed the missing battery pipe. I need to clear out the landfill buffer and maybe the concrete buffer. I'm not sure if I want to do that one. Landfill, I just want to stockpile as much as possible because I imagine I'll be filling lakes in the future. Out here, I fixed the iron 3 depletion, fixed copper 2 and copper 3. I didn't do more hot air, but that's the last task here. And then I want to get started on building out that giant Moondrop build. So I'm probably going to work on that after I address more hot air inside of the science base and that little landfill task. I also will clean up some miners here while I spot that I mark them for deletion. While I'm here, I need to do one thing. I want to set up these electrolyzers to be shut off for good, or at least until I decide that I don't want them to be running. So I'm going to set some circuit conditions on there, because eventually the deconstruction pops off of them, and yeah, that means that they will turn themselves on when I don't want them to, and we can't have that happening. Although my power situation should be a lot better, so you know what? Let's change the circuit condition. Let's re-enable them and see how bad power gets. 2.4 gigawatts, which is really light right now. There's a bunch of other stuff that might turn on, but for now, that's okay. Up here, I'm going to add a little bit more hot air production. I've changed this design very marginally. The only difference here is now I have more of the brick ones able to do stuff, and the brick warming ones able to do things, because now I no longer am limited by the yellow inserters. Now I can use a double row of the red inserters to insert and extract bricks a lot faster. Oops, that's not great. I'll have to fix that real quick. Alright, now as soon as these heat up, I should be able to run it. I might have to take away a few bricks. Let's see, it's very hard to sort out the bricks with this, so I'm just dividing them by putting them in a box. So I think that should be about the right amount. I don't want to overfill the belt and the machines, but I don't want to underfill them, of course, either, or it won't run very well. Yeah, if you've got a better way, I mean, you can blueprint a box and then put it like here and say, okay, insert from this box that you've blueprinted, but I didn't want to like put down this box in ghost mode and then click like 800 times to add 800 stone bricks in there. All right, yeah, this should be fine. They just need to warm up because the burners take some time, and that will help a little bit. Now, it's certainly once I need the real hot air for 240 logistics, and also to turn on the last Pi 1 build, that won't be enough, and I might convert some of those other ones to the better, bigger design, or just add a bunch more. We'll see. Now I'm going to go make a bunch of Moondrops, see how many I can put down. I think I only need, like, I don't know, 200 of them or so. Somehow, I randomly broke this underground. I guess when I was cleaning up miners, I did that. That's weird. But yeah, that's why automation science is blinking right now. The lack of tar means lack of pitch, means not enough bricks, etc., etc. So that should have fixed things, hopefully. Yes? Yeah, this is running again, and this is running again? Okay. Weird mistake. Back to building Moondrops. This Moondrop build is much like the other one that I use for methane. You feed Moondrops seeds up through the lanes, and then when you get, they will make Moondrops, send them back to the nursery, and the nursery will consume them to make more seeds and pass along whatever is left over. The only really complicated build with Moondrops is, like many of the other alien life recipes, since it's consuming what it produces, some of it, you have to be careful to make sure you don't lose what you create. And also, because the Moondrop nursery also makes Moondrops, you have to make sure that the Moondrops the nursery makes get consumed first by the nursery, otherwise you can create a jam. So I have a little bit of circuit wiring there that is stopping the belt if I've got too many Moondrops stuck there. I'm also using only one lane for the return Moondrops, and the other lane the nursery puts onto, and it's the near lane. So the near lane, if you don't know, Factorio inserters will prefer pulling from the near lane if possible. So that is how that works. I'm going to go ahead and make sure that this Moondrop and go ahead and do its build, so then I can steal some into a chest later on when I come back and need modules here. Also, let's make sure it's going to get water. Alright, that should get some Moondrops going for me. Oh wow, I've played incredibly efficiently, at least for me. So I'm not even over time, and I still want to keep going because, as I said, I want to get that research done for next time. So I need to play for at least another 20 minutes or so. So let me figure out what I can do, because I did burn myself entirely out of resources making Moondrops. I'm sure I've collected a few more, but not nearly enough to matter for the amount that I still need to create. Also, automation science caught back up, so I can reset that alert. Here's the last thing I can do. I can work on accelerating simple circuits. What I really need is more Formica to feed to the PCB factory to make more printed circuit substrates. So I'm going to work on this. I need to basically double the number of pulp mills, and I built this thing in a really cramped manner, so it'll take me a little bit to unwind that and make the necessary adjustments, but I'll be back after I've done that. Alright, and this is working again. Fantastic. Hopefully I've managed to collect a few more resources down at my bootstrap base while this has been in progress. Although, yeah, there's a couple other fixes that I need to do. So, yeah, hold on. Okay, I'm going to go drop off the materials that I've got. I built a few more Moondrops, but nowhere near enough. But I might as well end the episode with that, since, oops, that's not the one that I want to use. I want to continue dragging from this one. I might as well go build what I can, and yeah, come back next time with a fresh set of chests of maybe even, well, maybe not there, maybe even more iron plates stored up, because that is really what's blocking me from making enough Moondrop, what are they called? Moondrop greenhouses. Alright, I will be back soon. I checked, and I am running just fine at 2.7 gigawatts of power usage. No drop in my storage on my geothermal plant, so I feel pretty good about the power changes. And yeah, we'll go into hands-off mode, feeling a little bit more secure about how things were, at least compared to last time. So I'm going to drop off the belts and undergrounds and inserters that I've got into this future cotton guts build, hoping that it's going to be work out, because if not, I put down a lot of materials for that I'll have to tear up. Although I feel pretty good about it. It is kind of similar to the Vrauk Mark II with the food build. It's just more direct insertion of barrels and then several lanes of materials going in and out and weaving themselves through the build. Alright, I've put down all the stuff that I have to put down, I think, but I'm noticing that my automation science is low on planter boxes, and that's not a great thing to spot near the end of the episode. I need to figure out what's going on. It looks like a stone issue. I guess I should not be surprised every time I mess with my liquid fuels and my stone, something breaks. So I'm going to go see if I can't fix this, and be right back. Okay, part of the problem is this pump that I put in when the fluid extents got too big. Looks like it needs to be reconfigured or made into an overflow pump, maybe? Yeah, because this pitch was full, but I didn't have any pitch at my stone area. That's not the greatest thing to see. And then I think I'm going to change out one of my empty planter box production areas to be on the caravan network. Like I said before, I have plenty of bricks. It's just that I may not have bricks in being delivered. So it's more that local bricks are a problem rather than overall bricks. Alright, I'm going to have to keep an eye on this in the future to make sure I replace these with caravan outposts before rather than after I notice a problem, but I think that takes care of it for now. My automation science should recover as soon as the empty planter boxes make their way down the belt, and I think this should be the end of the episode. Yeah, we're looking good for getting cotton guts if assuming science doesn't break. Always got to mention that caveat. So let's jump into hands-off mode. Thank you so much for joining me. Oh, I wish I'd cleaned up that miner. Never mind. Thank you so much for joining me. Sorry this has been a little bit scattered. I have no idea what I'm going to title this episode because it didn't feel like it had a central theme other than just doing more stuff that I'd already done before. So let's see what I end up with. See you guys next time.